War in the modern battlefield has changed exponentially since the global war on terror in 2001. With this, there has been a quantum leap in the evolution of tactical equipment, most notably the combat vest. Now, as many might think, this is something that's been out of the 80s and 90s, when in actuality, this particular piece of equipment has its origins as far back as the Second World War. Anyway, in this video, I'm going to be highlighting a few specific tactical vests, and hopefully this will give everyone some insight on the evolution and the variety of tactical vests they could find on the market. The Normandy Assault Vest, also called the D.O.A.V vest or just the assault jacket, was in more ways than one the Americanization of the British jerkin vest, which was used by both British, Canadian, and some other Commonwealth troops in Europe. Now, this for America was their first attempt at a combat vest. Sadly, when you look at some of the reviews that have been about this vest, it was received rather poorly. However, this vest has received a boost in popularity thanks to the 1998 Steven Spielberg film Saving Private Ryan. Now, the front of the vest featured 4 big pockets, and since there was no real formalized instruction on what to put in where, soldiers kind of had to get a little creative, where they put anything that they felt was vital in the 4 big pockets up front and less essentials in the back. In a lot of ways, this can also be seen as America's first bastardization between your haversack and rucksack deal and a combat vest setup. It was kind of meant to be the all-in-one type deal. However, some soldiers complained that the vest itself was too long for them, so many of them would modify it by cutting it to fit just above the waist. The grommets that are on the front and back side of the vest, soldiers had to get a little creative on that because this thing was rushed into production, so quality controls weren't exactly there when it came down to a few things on that one. This thing was mainly seen during the June 6, 1944 D-Day landings and in the subsequent days after, and became less and less of a common sight as World War II progressed in the European theater. However, because of the design of the quick release straps up front, those American troops had to jump over the sides on the landings being shot at. That vest pretty much weighed them down, and it became the fatal flaw that this vest that was designed to help the American warfighter ended up drowning a lot of them. Regardless, its point in history and its influence on the subject matter for this video can't go without mention. And just before I forget, check out Uniform History's YouTube channel. They have a more detailed video about this particular piece of kit. It's no secret that the Vietnam War will always and forever remain a controversial subject for American military history. However, it can also be said that Vietnam was a watershed moment for the modern thinking of American Special Operations, and with that being said, the gear that they've carried has been a mix of everything from standard issue, taken off of dead or captured enemy forces, as well as, in many cases, customized by operators to fill a particular niche or a particular role within their unit. In a lot of ways, this is where a modern combat vest truly has evolved from. soldiers would tend to get very creative with their custom vests, and for a special forces team, they could go into a local ville, or if they had Montagnards living outside the wire of an A camp, they can always go to a Mama-san or a Papa-san to have this custom work done. Now, this vest pictured here is one such example of a more basic setup. As you can see, Velcro openings on the magazines to hold two 20-round AR mags, which were a standard issue for the time. We got belt loops on here to run the GI pistol belts through, and this would more than likely be a late war model because of the E.O.D camouflage pattern. This particular combat vest as a custom job is an interesting one, made out of a tiger stripe BDU jacket. As you can see, the three top rings on each shoulder could hold a single grenade of some sort, either fragmentation, smoke, and the like. You got two utility pouches on the vest, and you got 6 magazine pouches total to carry a single or two 20-round AR type magazines in each one. This vest, for all intents and purposes, was designed as a standalone tactical vest. Now, that being said, when we look at the special forces and stuff like that, a lot of the stuff that started going on with vests really happened during Vietnam. Okay, I know I'm doing a lot with American vests and vests that are used by the U.S. military or special operations. However, I feel that an honorable mention needs to be given to the South African Defense Forces Pattern 83 combat vest. Now, this vest came out at a time when a lot was going on in South Africa, both militarily and politically, because of their apartheid government back then. However, this vest stands as what I can best describe as the perfect bastardization between the haversack idea and a tactical vest because of the myriad of pouches it has. It's got a big one and a smaller one hooked into the back. You've got multitude of magazine pouches and sustainment pouches. This vest on its own could keep a soldier in the field for 3 days unassisted, and that's without a larger ruck style pack to go with it. Just the vest alone will be able to do the job. Now, be forewarned, the genuine South African issued vest is in what's called a Neutrala brown, which is pretty much their idea of a coyote or a khaki. Anything else on the market that you see that's in green, olive drab, woodland, even in multicam and ACU, or even tiger stripes for that matter, would be reproductions or airsoft knockoffs. Now, those vests can be good, just be forewarned and about them, because you may want the genuine one, or if you're buying a knockoff in a camo pattern or color scheme you want, be sure you get it from a reputable source or supplier. Other than that, this vest would be pretty ideal for paintball or airsoft as well, and I will definitely do a review on it if I ever get my hands on one. The Individual Integrated Fighting System, more commonly referred to as the LBV-88 Tactical Load-Bearing Vest, had its origins during the Vietnam War, when studies were being conducted by Natick laboratories about how Americans used equipment, and this was considered to be a product improvement, if not a replacement, candidate for the all-purpose lightweight individual carrying equipment, or ALICE gear. Now, generally speaking, this thing initially had its rollout with U.S. Special Forces units as far as something that was lightweight, but it still allowed soldiers to have flexibility, ease of access to ammunition, and a few other things. However, one of the things that it retained from the ALICE system was the ability to use the standard GI issue pistol belt that went with the gear. So they were able to attach various ALICE pouches, particularly magazine pouches, canteen pouches, among others in the ALICE lineup. So it allowed the individual soldier or operator to expand and further tailor the amount of firepower they have on hand for a particular mission. This vest had a lot of evolution over the years, as far as a Grenadier vest, which was nothing more than LBV 88 with pouches for the 40 by 46 millimeter low pressure grenades for the M203 or M79 and other standard NATO grenade launchers that were in use. However, this vest wasn't without its problems, particularly the retaining of body heat, which led to an enhanced LBV 88 with a mesh body, magazine pouches slanted to a 45-degree angle. The final evolution of this vest had its origins with the Land Warrior system, as the medic vest was developed, which is almost direct influence from the LBV 88 family, with the all MOLLE setup and a mesh body. However, because of the MOLLE on there, it allowed individual soldier to tailor it for more than that. I have done a full review on the MOLLE Medic Vest for anyone interested. I'll leave a link on that one. Other than that, this vest has gotten around and it's had a bit of a mystique thanks to Hollywood movies and the like, but that's more or less a story for another time. When we think about it, the Land Warrior project at its core is still a work in progress for the miniaturizing of the technology used to network the infantry forces together. However, what isn't debated is the fact that the infantry soldier now has new equipment because of Land Warrior. In this case, it's the MOLLE system, both the interceptor vest, but more importantly for this video, the fighting load carrier system. This was a military means to try to be a measure to replace the older Alice Webb gear and the LBV 88 tactical load bearing vest. In short, allows the soldier to be more modular in terms of weapon selection, gear layout, customize their equipment for individual needs or based on the needs of their parent unit or squad. Okay, the fighting load carrier system can be broken down into both a Generation 1 and Generation 2 variations. Both generations you'll commonly see in either the M81 woodland camouflage pattern, the three-color desert, or the universal camouflage pattern, more often referred to as the ACU or RPAT. Now, the first generation, as you see right here, is basic two-buckle open with adjustments on the back and the sides to bring it in or bring it out. However, the front is also made to open and loosen just like with the back to allow for where the wear over body armor and or thick winter clothing. However, just like with both generations, the only drawback to the FLC is the fact that it has no back MOLLE paneling. However, this vest is extremely breathable, and when you really think about it, it is a very minimalistic style that tries to give you as much gear as you need for the operation without having to overload yourself with unnecessary stuff. So if you're wanting to limit yourself as far as what kind of gear you can put on the vest, this vest wouldn't be a bad idea. Okay, what you're seeing here in front of you is the second generation fighting load carrier vest. Now, what distinguishes the second generation from the first is the front open zipper, YKK style. Now, generally, it was intended for this vest to be worn with the zipper primarily. However, you do have two securing straps on the top and bottom, with the bottom one being employed for if for any reason the front zipper malfunctions or isn't usable, or if the soldier or end user feels the need to use the top and bottom buckles if they're running with cold weather clothing or heavy body armor, or both. Other than that, this is exactly the same as the Generation 1 fighting load carrier system, and the same drawback of lack of a back panel. For other things, if you want to run a hydration bladder on this one, it'll be a backpack style for it. Other than that, as with the Gen 1, this is ideal for anybody who's wanting to run a minimalistic loadout. Blackhawk Industries. For decades, whether you love them or hate them, they have been the gold standard for military, law enforcement, special operations, paintballers, airsoft players, and anything and everything in between. With that, they have an entire family of tactical vests to choose from and have evolved over the years. And this is more or less a small sampling of all of them. Okay, let's kick this one off with a pretty solid vest that was used in the movie Tears of the Sun. This is a Blackhawk Omega Grenadier/Rifle vest. Now, as the name implies, this vest was intended for operators who have to carry an underslung grenade launcher as part of their weapons configuration for their operations. Now, each magazine pouch can hold either two 30-round AR Stanag type magazines or a single 30-round Kalashnikov mag. So, with that being said, you could hold a total of 6 AR mags or 3 AK mags, depending upon what you're doing. Now, same goes with the grenade part. Each could hold a 40 by 46 millimeter NATO standard low velocity grenade. However, you could probably put in the Russian equivalent for the GP25 or GP30, plus the 3 on the bottom. You could put 40 millimeter flares and stuff like that into there. However, I will say this vest is more set up for a right-handed shooter because of the Blackhawk sniper shoulder. Aside from that, these vests have been around for years, and early models had what was called BTS webbing on the back. This was a Blackhawk proprietary thing that had Velcro loops around it where it wrapped into the webbing on the back of the vest. Or you could actually use it with Alice clips or military issue pouches that had Alice clips. And the later ones, as you can see from coming up right now, this one would be the BTS webbing. So as I said, you could put the Blackhawk proprietary stuff in here on this, or GI standard. Later models, such as this one right here, would incorporate MOLLE webbing on the back to allow the various attachment of MOLLE pouches that are on the market. The Blackhawk D.O.A.V Tactical Vest, a vest designed by Special Operations for Special Operations. The general idea is to allow for operators to leave a very small footprint behind enemy lines. As you can see from this picture, the vest is in a woodland camouflage pattern which has since been discontinued. Now the pouches are pretty interesting. Each pouch, total of 4 frontal, holds 3 30-round AR mags or 2 30-round AK mags and anything and everything in between. This vest was designed specifically for low-profile operations. However, it's also got a wide range of pistol mag pouches and 2 large side pouches for utility. You could hold anything from a first aid kit, a box for ammo for a saw gun, 60, as well as carries 2 additional small packs on the back that are locked in place with Fastex buckles. Now, currently, any camouflage patterns of this vest have been discontinued, and the 3 that are for sale are the O.D, the khaki, and the black. Newer versions of this vest can still be found on the market and are sold by Blackhawk, but the back is a newer M.O.L.L.E format instead of the older BTS webbing. The Omega Crossdraw Vest. Definitely one of the more unique ones out of the Blackhawk line. This one is pretty much set up as is. Swap out magazine pouches on one side of the vest for 3 pistol mag pouches and a holster canted at a 45-degree angle for a Glock, Beretta, 1911, whatever medium to large frame pistol. Now, this would be a little bit of a mix-up between being right-hand friendly as far as the pistol goes, but left-hand friendly as far as using a rifle or carbine. Other than that, just same as any other vest from Blackhawk, you can use a military pistol belt. Older models had BTS webbing, newer models have the M.O.L.L.E webbing, and this one is fairly generic. It's one of those vests that have been copied numerous times by many other companies, or for anything from paintball, airsoft, or whatever. So this one is virtually anywhere. Explosives Ordnance Disposal Vest. As the name implies, this vest is specifically designed for operators who deal with explosive ordnance disposal missions. This vest was especially a good option for those that had to deal with the stuff, especially when the IED threats were picking up in Iraq and later on in Afghanistan. This came in 2 different models. As you see pictured here, you've got one for a standard configuration with rifle mags for those that are handling ARs and the like, as well as the right pouch carrying all their E.O.D tools. The second variation of this vest is going to be the one pictured here, a cross-draw model. The right side has still got all the pouches for your E.O.D tools, while the magazine pouches are replaced for that of a cross-draw pistol in lieu of magazine pouches for a rifle. So this one was built mainly for more low-profile missions where you've got to get into some real tight quarters, and having a gun strapped to your leg isn't exactly a good idea. Other than that, both vest models are pretty good, and I believe they're still available for sale by Blackhawk. For decades, police and military, particularly special forces units, have found the shotgun to be one of their go-to weapons for close-in work, as well as more specialized roles such as defeating doors and other obstacles that can impede them from reaching a particular target. With that being said, the Blackhawk Omega shotgun rifle vest is definitely a go-to tactical vest for this particular purpose. Replacing the ammo pouches on the right side of the vest in lieu of pouches specifically designed for 12-gauge shotgun rounds, this vest is ideal for anybody who's carrying a rifle or carbine strapped to their back and a shotgun in hand, or having a shotgun mounted to their rifle or carbine. Now, with that being said, the vest itself is like every other in the Omega lineup. However, it is specialized particularly for those that find themselves as the breacher in any kind of tactical situation. It doesn't matter if it's a EMT attached to a police SWAT team, or a Special Forces medic, or a corpsman for a Navy SEAL unit. This particular vest is specifically set up for those particular people. This is a Blackhawk utility / medic vest. Reason being that this vest is generally set up to have utility pouches which could hold a wide number of tools, or in this case, as far as a medic, you've got various pouches that could handle different types of things, hold bandages, and any other trauma kit. However, because this thing also takes the GI pistol belts, you can also add your various pouches you need for rifles, carbines, and whatever you need. So, this vest is best limited to that of the EMT or a medic on a tactical unit. Okay, this vest is rather unique. This particular Blackhawk vest has their proprietary BTS webbing all over the place. This is good if you want to use Blackhawk BTS pouches with the Alice clips included, or you just want to run Alice clips and GI pouches all over the vest. Now, for paintball, airsoft, and anything like that, if you like running old school, this vest wouldn't be a bad thing to look into. I'm not exactly sure, however, if Blackhawk even makes this vest anymore, but look for it. It might be able to find it. Okay, the Blackhawk Omega Strike Vest. Now, for all you movie freaks, you'll probably remember this vest in all black when Sylvester Stallone was wearing it in the movie The Expendables. Now, as far as I know, this is Blackhawk's first M.O.L.L.E vest. And with that being said, the only thing this has in common with the other vests made by Blackhawk that have been in this video is that it still retains the mesh pocket in the back for your camelbacks, and the pockets for the internal storage up front, but this one happens to be the standard one with all over M.O.L.L.E. And there are two generations of them, this one being the first, and right here is the second iteration. This one is with the PALS webbing closer together instead of the usual military standard of a 1-inch gap in between the lines of webbing. This means that an operator or end user could have more precise placement of their pouches, yet at the same time this also makes it a little difficult to weave them in. However, I would say this vest wouldn't be a bad idea for anybody who's looking for something high speed. And with that being said, that's all she wrote for the Blackhawk vests in this lineup.